The playoffs are here, and you can predict the action all the way to the finals with FanDuel Predicts. Predict the spread, the total points, and even the game-winning moments that make the playoffs. Sign up and get a $25 bonus with FanDuel Predicts.
Offered by FanDuel Prediction Markets, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant. 18-plus bonus is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Trading derivatives involves significant risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Manage your activity with their consumer protection tools. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/predicts/bonus-offer-terms.
Excuse me! Taxi!
Come on, what are you doing? This is the 77 WABC minicast.
It really is a message of peace through strength. There's no doubt President Trump right now, John, did you hear this? This is the first time in 20 years that there have been 3 aircraft battleships and carrier ships that are in theater. 3 carrier ship groups. So this is extraordinary. The USS Bush just got there.
We have Mike Pompeo, the former CIA director and the State Department Secretary of State, coming on at 5:30 today. So everybody should hang on.
That's going to be a biggie.
And I like to. Who are we fighting?
Well, that's the question. Now here's the new. Did you hear the new details?
Iran has no Navy. Iran has no Air Force. 3 aircraft carriers. Who are we fighting?
We need some music from like Pirates of Penzance.
No, that's exactly. We're fighting the pirates on the straits. That's what we're fighting. The gunboats.
3 aircraft carriers.
Listen, whatever it takes to knock them out of the water is okay with me.
Yeah, it's a great question that John brings up. Because if you look at the map, you guys, I was just looking at it right before we came to air, like where our military assets are in the Gulf right now, it is like dotted every single region. I'm just talking about the carrier groups. There are so many others. And there's 200 aircraft associated with that, 15,000 sailors and Marines. And it's a bunch against who Trump describes as wise guys. I mean, that's how he calls them.
In fact, they are. They're a mafia culture that's taken over a country. That's exactly what they've done. They're holding the 90 million people there hostage to this cartel of gangsters.
Which is why, Judge Weinberg, the last thing you want is for this regime to get a nuclear weapon. Imagine what they would do if they had a nuclear weapon, Judge.
Totally turns the course of history around if they have a nuclear weapon.
Absolutely.
They will control the region, and they totally blackmail Europe, which has no staying power anyway.
Now, let me ask you. I mean, Iran gave the Houthis the arms, gave the Hezbollah arms.
Hamas.
He armed 10,000 Hamas youth and told them, take the guns and go have a good time in Israel, kill, plunder, and rape.
And sadly, they did.
So if Iran, the leadership of Iran, had nuclear weapons, well, they'll give it to Hamas or Hezbollah or whatever, another terrorist group, and said, it's not us, it's them.
Yeah, can you imagine, right. John? That's right. That's right. They have so many evil tentacles around the world.
Whom do you trust?
You know, I want to bring up...
At least we realize, listen, Putin is not going to, no matter how much you don't dislike him, he's not going to start World War III. China is not going to start World War III. Even Rocket Man, North Korea, is not going to start World War III.
I haven't heard that one in a while.
Okay? None of these guys are going to start World War III.
But Iran might.
Iran?
Absolutely.
You know, more likely than not.
But they believe in a crazy religious ideology. It's a death cult. That they're going to go to heaven and have how many virgins? God, you can have 72. A heart attack. You can have a heart attack with all those virgins.
You know what? They deserve it. Not the virgins, but the heart attack they deserve.
Well, I mean, by the way, I had a busy day today.
Yes, by the way, I have to ask you, there's a rumor out there that you were actually at the mayor's office.
Well, we stopped by the mayor's office. I was downtown today, and I saw the deputy mayor, Julia Sue. And look, whatever we can do to help our city, we'd like to help. And then went down to Bowling Green. We raised the flags.
The Greek flag.
My old friend Arthur Piccolo was there, who helps and does whatever he has to do on Bowling Green. And we had Greek Independence Day raising of the flags. And then I had to come back and make sure the show is done here.
Yeah, you had a busy day.
I had a busy day.
And now, so the meeting went well, I assume, with the deputy.
They, and I said, I know I did say that, look, we want New York to succeed, and you guys are in charge, so whatever we can do to help, we'll help.
Well, and I think
the first thing they can do is get rid of this ridiculous attack on Ken Griffin.
That's what I was about to say,
And the productive
Judge.
taxpayer job creators who make the city great, give to charity, and this idea that Hochul's going along with is as dumb as possibly be. And ask Governor Patterson his thoughts on it.
Yeah, Governor. And before I bring you in, Gov, I want to also tell everybody what Ken Griffin just said a little bit ago. And remind everybody, because Mamdani did that crazy ad where he was standing in front of the second home of Ken Griffin and saying it's people like this, like mocking him. Ken Griffin brings in huge amount of money to New York.
Hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yep. And he put on hold a $6 billion project. And Ken Griffin just came out a little bit ago and called what Mamdani did shameful. Absolutely shameful.
And by the way, remember, it's the same Ken Griffin who had his primary operations in Chicago,
right,
and left Chicago and went to Miami. Is that what Mamdani wants to do? Have everybody from Citadel leave New York and go to Miami?
Yeah, he's wooing people, good people like Ken Griffin, away. I mean, he is saying, you know what? There's no reason to stay in New York. We're going to make your life miserable. He should be saying, come on in. We need you. And that's why I'm glad that at least some people in the mayor's office are clearly talking to great people like John. They should be talking to Ken Griffin as well, and also people that invest in this city and that make this city great. Governor Patterson.
Well, I think that there certainly was a veiled threat that came from Gerald Beeson, who runs Ken Griffin's company. It's worth $62 billion. And it has to do with a project that they want to do that would bring 6,000 construction jobs and inevitably 15,000 permanent jobs. So if they are able to do that, and they're thinking about maybe not doing it in New York and going someplace else, it'll be the biggest embarrassment caused by any mayor in a long period of time. So as I see it, it's one of these situations where there's going to have to be some type of a conversation with the mayor or something like that, because he looked like a cartoon character or a kind of like a college protest when he did that. And the situation is so much bigger than him, he would never even notice it.
And you know, that ad, you're right, because when I saw that ad, I actually thought it was a joke. I thought it was a parody, that it really can't be his genuine ad. But it was his genuine ad saying, we're going to tax. And here I am standing in front of Ken Griffin. To me, it was an absurdity.
It's like the Amazon deal. It cost all that job, all that economic development, brought to you by AOC and Generis.
Well, you want to know something? The judge is right. This is similar to that.
Yeah. Drive them out.
Yeah. In AOC, you know what happened? I remember what happened at AOC. AOC says, we don't have to give them back the $4 billion. And we can get to use the $4 billion on something else. Wait.
She doesn't do any arithmetic.
She doesn't know arithmetic.
I thought when you do a bartending, you kind of have to decide who gets what.
If I remember right, guys, just listen to this for a second. Amazon was going to spend $29 billion. After they spend the $29 billion, and New York City got all the economic benefit, and that might be worth $50 billion, then the city gives back $4 billion of the $50 billion they might have made.
You would have thought,
Governor, is that right?
It's pretty straight ahead, John.
The numbers would add up that way, yes.
Right, but she didn't get it, to John's point.
She thought it was cash on hand.
Yeah,
it wasn't cash on hand.
Yeah,
she's used to bartending, you guys. It's tip jars.
If you don't, if Amazon didn't spend the $29 billion, there is no $4 billion to give back.
Exactly. I mean, it just shows she's ignorant. And unfortunately, now we're in a situation where it's the same.
What did DeSantis do in Florida?
DeSantis said, come on down. DeSantis said, you know what? We'll provide buffers. We'll incentivize you to come here. And one of the things he's also doing, and this, John, actually, you bring up a powerful point here, too, about the buffer zone, because DeSantis has really gone full throttle about protecting law enforcement and doing other things. And one of the things DeSantis just did recently was have this halo which is called, essentially, it's the Halo Act, where they're giving enough room between police and protesters. So what does Mamdani do? His first veto, you guys, just a few minutes ago, he's vetoing the New York City schools buffer zone. This is different, but he said he doesn't want to do a buffer zone.
He vetoed the one that goes against churches.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, exactly. Churches
and
schools and
schools.
schools. Get it right, guys, and schools. And so here's what it is. So it's schools, churches, synagogues, everything.
I can see why you're against that.
Yeah. I mean, that's what's so crazy. And the reason is he's saying because he wants to protect anti-ICE, anti-Israel student protesters. I mean, you can't make this up, Judge.
Look, if you want to create a situation of conflict, and then he wants to give away the institution, the police department that protects the critical response team. Also, so you don't have a buffer zone. You get rid of the critical response team. Then what happens? You're going to have riots and you can have bloodshed on the streets.
Right. And it goes back also to this, like you talked about, the SRGC, the Strategic Response Group. The fact that he doesn't even want it for schools or churches. I mean, he's saying, come one, come all. And we've had problems, you guys, as you know, at synagogues.
And we've had protests all around the city for years where the protest was not surrounding some other entity like a school or a police department
or a
something
synagogue,
like that.
Or a synagogue.
Or a synagogue. We've had protests that were down the block. The same protesters still came. The media still came. You don't always have to make everything look like there's going to be an immediate violent confrontation. And that's one of the problems with these protests, is that they signal violent confrontation.
The governor's right. And by the way, it's totally constitutional. You can have a reasonable restriction as to time, place, and manner. Supreme Court of the United States has been very clear.
Yeah, it's First Amendment.
Your
Amendment.
Honor,
absolutely.
will you be issuing a judgment on this case?
So ordered, Governor. So ordered.
But
okay, we're back in business.
But good. I'm glad we are. By the way, but you know what I think of, you guys too. I also think of what happened at the synagogue, and it was Rabbi Schneier's synagogue. Remember where the protesters came right up to the door. It made people uncomfortable, and in fact, the city hall essentially afterwards condemned the parishioners, saying, they shouldn't have necessarily been there. Remember that, like, half-hearted? It was the most.
Yeah.
But they felt intimidated to go in to pray, and that's why you want to have this buffer, not just obviously for places of worship, but certainly schools. You would think you want to protect school kids, and yet it seems like he's more intent to make sure these anti-student, anti-ICE protests are going on than to protect places of worship and schools.
Well, I'm hopeful the City Council and the able and wise leadership of Julie Menon, the Speaker, will do an override of this veto where they need 34 votes.
Yeah. Do you have a sense of which way it's going to go?
I mean, can I make a bet on this? Make some money on this?
Yes,
Governor?
yeah, 5 cents. 5 cents.
My money is on Julie Menon, the Speaker of the Council.
Yeah, she's going to want to have this buffer zone.
We're a team. I'll throw in with you.
So then what I said is what I said publicly to somebody. I said, knowing that Julie Menon is going to override the veto, was he just playing a violin to his supporters?
Maybe so, but it's still the wrong decision. Whatever the reason is.
And Rita's right because it sends the wrong signal.
Yes.
Violin plays different songs.
It does. And I played violin. I didn't do a very good job at it. This is not either.